Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Welcome to the garage, ladies and gentlemen. Peter Clayton is with me. He's behind the camera. It's November the 27th. The days flick by. I don't know where the time goes. But as long as you are having fun, that's all that I worry about. Have a good day. Here in the garage, the Court of Public Opinion is again in session. And I would like to remind you to join us on Friday. I've got a very interesting lady coming on Friday. Pete, have you ever considered marrying yourself?
No.
No?
I drive myself crazy.
You know, people do marry themselves. It's becoming quite the thing.
Oh.
I'm not pulling your leg.
No, I believe you.
I have a marriage celebrant who has specialised in people marrying themselves. Now, it begs a lot of questions. What do you do when you marry yourself? How would you get divorced? Well, you couldn't get divorced. You couldn't have an argument, could you? Really?
Well, unless you're schizophrenic or something, but this can't be true, is it?
No, it is true. It is true. People do it. They pay her to marry themselves. At least you know what you're getting. But it's a bit narcissistic, I sense. But I like this lady. She is. You'll meet her on Friday. She'll be on the show 10:30, I think it is. She's in Melbourne, so it's 10 o'clock her time, 10:30 my time. So that's something to look out for. Good fun. Anyway, that's jeremycordeaux.com, 9 till 12, around the dining room table. Sort of another version of the Court of Public Opinion. The Bali Nine, or what's left of them. Caught, if I've got this right, you can tell me on Friday if I haven't. Caught for trying to smuggle 8 kilograms.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Of heroin into Australia. Now, yeah, I know they have a heroin injecting room in Melbourne, and there's a Labor government that seems to think there's nothing wrong with it, but it is a shocking evil that destroys people's lives. It looks like they're coming home, these guys. On television, a lot of hand-wringing, and apparently years of quiet governmental diplomacy to get them out of jail and back to Australia. They are drug dealers and drug pushers. Am I getting something wrong here? The Indonesians, like the Singaporeans, I think have got it right. Most people might think, understandably, that 20 years in an Indonesian jail would be enough punishment. But they do tell you up front in that neck of the woods, you get caught smuggling drugs, you face the death penalty. That's what they were doing. They should take responsibility for trying to smuggle heroin, one of the great most damaging drugs known to humankind. What are we doing? What's left of the Bali Nine, which I think is about 5, will come home to, I imagine, probably a media-focused hero's welcome. What are we worried about? Why are these people a priority for Albanese? Would it be too much to ask to be told just exactly what was the deal that we did and why and what it cost? The Labour Party, I suspect, would like a safe injecting room in every city. You see, you can't have a safe injecting room. How crazy that is. You know, you get caught on the street with heroin and you can be arrested. You go into the injecting room and it's quite okay. In fact, they'll throw you out if you have a packet of cigarettes with you. Just amazing. We're letting a whole lot of crazy people run our world. That, and along with pill testing, which is another one of the lefties' pet projects, I sense the Indonesians' tough on drugs policy is the right one. And as I say, you might disagree with that. A lot of people seem to think that you would immediately put an end to the drug problem if you legalised it or made it compulsory or handed it out on the street corners. But I don't get that. The International Criminal Court has issued a warrant for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu for crimes against humanity. War crimes. Of course, the warrant and the well, not a conviction, but the accusation doesn't mean a thing. I don't respect the independence of that court. It's highly political. And there are many countries, including America, who haven't signed up to it either. These people, Hamas, started this war. Started it willfully. Don't poke the bear. Don't start something that you can't finish. Personally, I think every war is a crime against humanity. It's not civilized, it's not gentlemanly. You know, I can imagine somebody sitting around saying, oh, well, it's okay, you kill one of mine, I'll kill one of yours. We'll keep it civilized. Here are the rules. This is how we here in Geneva believe war should be conducted. This is how you should behave. Really? How naive. Cast your mind back to 1941. I mentioned the date yesterday, which was the date that Yamamoto put the Japanese fleet to sea, headed towards Pearl Harbor. Yesterday was the anniversary of that day, the carrier force. But put your mind back to 1941. It was the 7th of December.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Japan launches an unprovoked attack on Pearl Harbor. 2,400 American casualties. This day of infamy, not dissimilar to the 7th of October 2023. Moving forward in history, the 7th of October 2023 in Israel. Now, to win the Second World War, America finally dropped 2 nuclear bombs, Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Casualties, mostly civilian. In fact, I would say probably almost totally civilian. Approximately 210,000 people were killed immediately, with another 300,000 who would linger on in agony for years. There was nothing proportional about that response to the attack on Pearl Harbor. Yet the Israelis, answering that attack on the 7th of October, all those years later, the Israelis going into that territory, Gaza, no, it's not proportional. Not proportional. Nothing's proportional. Be careful that you don't start something you can't finish. I believe Israel, like America...
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
America will find itself on the right side of history. We'll see. We'll see. I saw on Friday night an interesting story. If I get this right, I hope I get it right. A great moment in queer visibility. Pete, have you ever heard of queer visibility?
No, but I'm curious. Watch it down now.
A great moment in queer visibility. Well, it was on the ABC.
Okay.
It was on the ABC, 7 o'clock news. It was the ABC, so I don't know what one would expect. It was the unveiling, if that's the word, the unveiling of former Premier Don Dunstan's pink hotpants. Now, he would have absolutely hated that. He would have hated that. He certainly was a bit of a showman. But he wasn't a tart. He never paraded his homosexuality. He was discreet to the end. I remember he gave me the last interview that he ever did, during which he said his greatest regret was that he wasn't a better judge of character. Now, I took it, when he said that, I took it to mean, or to have reference to, his friendship with John Cerruto. But Don, like so many others, you know, in my years in show business, golly, Stuart Wagstaff, Graham Kennedy, Sir Robert Helpman, Rock Hudson, Liberace, Sir Ian McLennan, very dignified people. Former State Governor and Chief Justice, Dame Roma Mitchell. Can you imagine these people taking part in the gay Mardi Gras, for example? I don't know. Maybe I've just been extremely fortunate in the people that I've met. Apparently...
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
We are going to spend, on average, $600 on Black Friday shopping. Well, God, Pete, it goes for a month, but I think Black Friday is this coming Friday.
Is it? Okay.
Well, that's the proper one. And it has overcome or outstripped the Boxing Day sales. bargains or what? I don't know. Do they mark things up and mark them down? I don't know, but we did mention that banana that sold for $9.6 million, called the Comedian. What's the old saying? A fool and his money are soon separated. The great mystery is how they got together in the first place. And that's interesting. The Northern Territory has been announced as the fastest growing economy in the country. Gee, I found that interesting. Well over 4%. But it also has the greatest number of homeless people. Rental affordability has plummeted all over Australia. Perth is now the least affordable city in the country. 40% of people in Australia's big cities are considering a move to the regions. Gee, I can speak highly of my time when I went and started in radio at a little north coast New South Wales town called Grafton. I think it was about 15,000 people, something like that, one radio station, 2 banks, nice hardware store, couple of pubs, everything you needed. No problems. But 40% of us, that's a fair slice, isn't it? 40% are thinking of moving to regional Australia. This is according to an outfit called the Regional Australia Institute, which I've never heard of before. The figures were out last week. I'm sure you could Google them and have a look. Look, I don't...
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Doubt it, really. A simpler, more peaceful life. I cast my mind back to one of the... there's a lot of parallels between Australia and America. In 1854, in the United States of America, a fellow called Horace Greeley, and you can look him up as well, Horace Greeley said in the New York Times, "Go west, young man." Put it on the front page of the paper. Front page article. Well, he could do that. He was not only the columnist, but he was also the editor. He inspired a lot of people. His inspired article was a catalyst for a nation, at the time mostly stuck on the East Coast, which was troubled and a lot of poverty, a lot of epidemics and rats and crime. And anyway, it helped to open up the West and the boom that became the United States of America. Wow! Do we need to be stuck in a few big, expensive, difficult cities with a diminishing quality of life? No, we don't. The thing is that here, we're very lucky. We've got lots of room. We can go north, we can go south, we can go west. And if you want to go out to the islands, you can even go east. Lots of things to do. What happened to Men's Day? Pete, did you notice Men's Day?
No.
Came and went. Not a mention. It was last Tuesday. Men's Day last week. I don't think anyone noticed. No one celebrated, remembered, cared. Sunday was, this last Sunday, was National Fairy Bread Day.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Now, I don't know what these days actually achieve, but if there is a day that you would like to designate, make a day of it, you might say. The day of 0491 65 68 60 on Friday. Pick something, doesn't matter how ridiculous it is, and we'll make a day of it. Speaking of food, apparently they, who are they? The food police, I suppose. They're going to ban the ever-popular ham and cheese sandwich from our children's lunchboxes. It's true, Pete. That it's first in Western Australia and then in South Australia.
Why?
Oh, because ham is processed. Children like it. It is not a problem. You see, again, what is the problem these stupid lefties are trying to fix? How do you ban a ham and cheese sandwich, and how do you not ban the pizza? There's a lot of controversy about putting ham and cheese and pineapple. What do you think about that, Pete?
Oh, I like it.
I like it. Yeah. And some people say pineapple on a pizza is terrible. It's not terrible if you like it. Oh, I don't know.
It's not done in Italy.
It's what? Not done in Italy? Oh, well, that's all right. Well, chop suey is certainly not Chinese. That was invented in New York in the 1800s. Chop suey? True. Now that they've closed down, I'll leave you with this. Now that they've closed down G3, and that's affected all sorts of things from personal alarms and alerts to security to pacemakers to, oh God, I don't know. See, technology is wonderful. It works until it doesn't. But they've closed down G3. I don't know. How are you managing? You might like to give me some feedback on that. We've always had black spots, particularly up here. But really, in this day and age, we should have better coverage. Let me know what you think about that. You can give us a call. But here, we're on 4G or 5G. We're 15 minutes out of the city of Adelaide, here at Glen Osmond. I usually have about one bar. One bar. Sometimes the phone doesn't even ring, and the call goes straight to message bank. I mean, it happens. I don't know what it is. I just don't. I don't think they put up enough. I don't think they put up enough repeater stations or antennas or whatever they are. And just something we must talk about, perhaps around the dining room table. One new arrival in Australia every 44 seconds. One new arrival every 44 seconds. Mostly from India. And sadly, Pete, they can all play cricket.
Yes, they can. Well, at least they'll be playing for Australia.
Well, that's right, you know. Yeah. But what should our population be?
What it is now.
Yeah, I think, you know, yes. Hit the pause button.
Yeah. Shut the gate.
Shut the gate. Tell me what you think Friday. Now, happy birthday if you're having a birthday or a wedding anniversary. November the 27th. Oh, wow.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
On this day, in 1911, an audience throws vegetables at actors for the first recorded time in US history. Well, I'm sure it wasn't the first time in history, because you could imagine in England they would be throwing rotten tomatoes at people in the village square while they recited Shakespeare and stuff like, wouldn't they? Of course they would. Don't know about Australia. I don't think we throw rotten fruit at performers, even if they're terrible.
Well, I've never had any.
We hire them and put them on television. Reality shows. for example. What were you going to say?
Well, they've never thrown any at me so far.
No, well, that's right. You go out there, you put your head on the line. Absolutely. The first Boeing 727 jet rolls out of the assembly plant at Renton, Washington on this day in 1962. Bergen County, New Jersey, Sheriff's Department arrests American singer Frank Sinatra on this day in 1938. He was only 23, on charges of seduction. Well, that would sort of be right. Later withdrawn and amended to adultery. That would have been probably a certainty. And shortly thereafter, the case was dismissed. Had a lot of charm about him, Frank Sinatra. Never met him, but I had the opportunity to see him in Sydney when he was with Liza Minnelli and, oh golly, who else was he with? Sammy Davis Jr., whom I have met, a charming man. Anyway, show business ain't show business without these wonderful people who have gone to God. 1920, The Mark of Zero, directed by Fred Niblo, starring Douglas Fairbanks, is shown in New York, the first American superhero film. Zorro. Yeah, The Mark of Zorro. 1920 was the year. Now that's a franchise that, you know, keeps on giving. 1971, Soviet Mars 2 becomes the first spacecraft to crash land on Mars. 1971, on this day, Great Britain's Prince Harry and American actress Meghan Markle announced their engagement on this day in 2017. I wonder how long that marriage has got to go.
Yes.
Want to take a bet?
Well, I think it's inevitable.
I think it's fraught, yeah. I think that ain't going to last. American That 70s Show, starring Ashton Kutcher, 35, divorces stage actress Demi Moore, 51. Oh, he was 35, she was 51. Due to irreconcilable differences after 8 years of marriage. Speaking of marriages made in heaven. 2013 was the year, this was the day, Honda first opens in America in 1948. Keep in mind that was just a few years after the war. Wow. Bruce Lee, Hong Kong-American martial arts and actor. Enter the Dragon, born San Francisco, died 73, born this day in 1940. The first day-night one-day cricket international, Australia versus the West Indies. Were you there?
No.
No. That was at the Sydney Cricket Ground, 1979. Ada Lovelace, English mathematician, considered the first computer programmer and writer and daughter of poet Lord Byron, dies of uterine cancer at 36 on this day in 1952. On this day in 1924 in New York City, the first Macy's Thanksgiving Parade is held. Shrek the sheep. Shrek the sheep. New Zealand sheep that held the world record for the biggest shorn fleece. Born at Bendigo Station in New Zealand on this day in 1994, died 2011. And 2014, P.D. James. Do you know what the P.D. stands for? I didn't either. Phyllis Dorothy. Phyllis Dorothy James, Baroness James of Holland Park, English crime and mystery writer. Cover her face, death in holy orders, dies at 94 on this day in 2014. Verity Lambert, English film and TV producer, the first Doctor Who, the naked civil servant, died 2007, born this day in 1935. And Jimi Hendrix. I was never into Jimi Hendrix. Just noisy. Jimi Hendrix, American rock guitarist, Purple Haze, Voodoo Chili, The Wind Cries Mary, born Seattle, Washington, 1943, died of a heroin overdose. I think it was a heroin overdose. with these pop stars. I'm afraid it is kind of a race to the end. Depends on what you're into. Thank you for being with us here in the Court of Public Opinion. Peter Clayton and I will be back next Tuesday and Wednesday on Facebook, and Andy Martin will post our offering on various podcast avenues, and I'll see you on hopefully on Friday morning 9 to 12, jeremycordeaux.com live streaming. Just before I go, just let me remind you about the Rising Sun Inn. It's on Bridge Street at Kensington Park. It's a most beautiful venue. It's very old, lots of character, 1840, what do we say, 1845? Yeah, lots of character. Handmade bricks. If it was Sydney, of course, they'd be convict handmade bricks, but we didn't have convicts here. We just had a lot of helping hands, but they were free. Makes all the difference if you're a brick, I can tell you. The food is wonderful. The wine cellar is great. Hospitality is warm. And they've got lots of different rooms where, depending on what you want, a romantic dinner for two, or a function, or a product launch, or a Christmas party, talk to Grant. He will introduce you to a place that I'm quite sure will become a firm favourite with you. The award-winning Rising Sun Inn on Bridge Street at Kensington Park. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Believe in yourself, and thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.